哈，各位好，我是徐米啊。这次非常荣幸收到雷蛇邀请啊，在日本秋叶原参加 V4 Pro 的发表会，还访问到原厂的 Product Marketing。我准备了一些各位应该会有兴趣的问题啊，那我们就一起回到日本吧。
The DeathAdder V3 was a very good hit, and so here comes the V4, and it seems the shapes are entirely the same. I know it's Pro validated, but is it exactly the same?
Okay, there is more than meets the eye. So overall, shape-wise, exactly the same shape. However, if you look at the details, for example, should I show to the camera?
It's okay.
Yeah, the side. For example, the side buttons, it's been split now because we've heard feedback that sometimes people have like troubles pressing the actual button or misclicking the button, right? So that's what we did here. External wise, we also have smooth touch texture right now. So smooth touch texture has been validated by a lot of our consumers also. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. On Reddit and even on like Amazon reviews, you see that people talk about the texture all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. So we understand that this is what the pros like, community like, fans like, consumers like. That's why we went with it.
Yeah.
So that's all of the external changes. However, internally, there's a lot of changes that you can't really see. So like all of the optical scroll wheel, optical switcher sensor, as well as our wireless platform that's built into this product. It's the main upgrades from the V3 to the V4 Pro.
I see. Yeah. So externally it's the same. So externally it's the same, but internally it's like completely overhauled.
I forgot about the mouse speed.
All right, the mouse speed. Yeah, we love big mouse.
Yes, as well as the mouse speed. So in the V3 Pro, it was a small mouse speed. Yeah, only like 2 on the top and then one long one at the bottom, longer one at the bottom. However, when because for me personally, I was like, do the pros really feel different? I went to IEM. I got them to test on the blind test, small mouse speed and large mouse speed side by side. 60% actually say better performance.
This is critical information.
Yes, exactly.
I just want to know.
Yeah. So the pro players were like, they told me they tested. The test really showed the real results of how much better they feel that they perform, and that's why we went with it.
Yeah, that's great. All right, so let's talk about the new scroll wheel, because one of the most asked questions is about the durability of the scroll wheels, because before that, some comments will be like, oh, the scroll wheel reverse scroll in half a year. So this new optical scroll wheel is 3 times more durable. Is it true, and how did it work?
Okay, for the optical scroll wheel, it is true that it's 3 times more durable than previous. So previous we use mechanical, right now it's optical. So being optical, like same concept as optical switches versus mechanical switches, right? In the past, long ago, mechanical switches were what people actually wanted. They liked the tactility of it. However, yeah, the feel, yes, exactly. So when we made optical switches, we copied the feel but made it optical. So for optical, there's no room for error because it's a light, right? So it's just like, it's a light there, it's a light gone. Yeah. So same concept as that. We put that over to the scroll wheel as well.
All right, good. Okay, about the clicks, we talked about the clicks. So actually, the entire community or the entire pro players group, they got used to the optical switches because of the Viper V3 Pro. They used to get used to the traditional kind of switches, but they opt in for the slightly heavy clicks on the Viper V3 Pro. But I checked the new clicks on the V4. It's actually lighter and the travel distance is shorter. So what makes this change?
Actually, we also checked with our pro players for feedback. So the main feedback that we had previously was they actually want like lighter click so they can spam click. Yeah, so with that in mind, and then we completely wanted to like redesign everything from scratch. So we redesigned the entire switch with that in mind, and then with like thinner springs, we were able to get to that kind of feeling. Yeah.
All right. Right, so next question is about the new sensor. So it looks great from the specs, and the battery life is great. The question is about motion sync, because motion sync has been a good feature for Razer, but there are some certain kinds of players that wanted to turn it off. They want to have the option to turn it on or off. So is it going to be an option for the DeathAdder V4?
这个问题我们后来请到了 Ayush Sharma 先生来回答因为这段没有录完，我就口述给大家听。 基本上雷蛇内部测试之后，觉得 Motion Sync 关掉会不会带来好处，这点非常主观。另外一个角度，因为他们长期在测试 Motion Sync， 把 Motion Sync 做好是没有坏处的所以他们选择保留 Motion Sync， 然后把它做到最好。另一个问题是，新的无线方案有提到延迟变低我想知道的是跟现在市场上流行的3950竞技模式在即时性上如何比较。Mr. Sharma 说他们有测试过 Coded Mode， 但是2倍耗电量带来的轨迹进步几乎可以被忽略。雷蛇觉得这样不划算。他们的方式是针对不同的回报率各自设定供电模式以达到不同回报率状态之下性能跟续航的平衡。新的感应器、全新的晶片、全新的平台也对续航力有帮助所以才可以在1K 下达到领先的150小时。
So next question is about the famous camouflage paint on the prototypes, which is very popular among the players, the Razer fans. So will it be an option for the consumers?
Right now, no. But we've heard also from the pros that they really like this design because it's really unique. Yeah. So the whole intent of this like camouflage print, right? We call it the iconic samples. So the iconic samples prototypes. Iconic prototypes. So iconic term actually came from 1950s, where car manufacturers wanted to test their cars on the road, right? But they don't want the public to be taking pictures of the.
It's also like snake skin.
Yeah, they don't want people to be. Yeah, so you can't from far away. You don't really see the real design. You're not sure like what is the actual changes or upgrades. To the overall ergonomic shape, right? So that was the whole intent of this. So that's why we wanted pro players to actually test this on stage and and not give away too much about the product, right? So we did this. There was 180 units sent out. 180 units sent out, yeah. So it was first seen in VCT back in March. I think some of the pro players brought it up on stage to actually test it out. Then it created more buzz, like you said, right? About people using it, Nicole using it, and all that, yeah. Until now as well. Still to this day, I think just maybe a couple days ago, Faker was actually seen using it as well. Yeah.
Right. So last question is that the consumers, some consumers in Taiwan or in East Asia, they really like the V3 HyperSpeed shape because it's slightly smaller, but it's still very good. So will the V3 HyperSpeed has a new version with the new sensors, the flagship sensors inside?
So here at Razer, we're always listening to feedback, right? And like what people actually want in the market. So namely for DeathAdder V4 Pro, we kept the same shape because we've consulted the pros, right? And they said, don't change something that's like not broken. So we kept with the same shape. Yeah, so we are continuously listening to feedback. So if there is feedback and there is demand, definitely we will listen and we'll think about it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
以上就是这次访谈内容这次能到现场看发表会，为各位带来第一手资讯，真的非常有趣其实 Mr. Sharma 准备了很多有趣的投影片现场有一些媒体看到都睡着，但我看的是津津有味，恨不得跟 Sharma 老哥好好去吃一个晚餐，多聊一聊希望这部访谈有帮各位回答一些心中的问题也可以帮助你们更了解全新世代的 V4 Pro。我是 Jimmy， 这个感应器又可以站3年了。我们下部影片见，拜拜。